video today, I'm going to be showing you how to make some stickers with your Cricut Joy using the new adhesive backed deluxe paper. So I am just cutting out some little stickers to put in my planner, as you can kind of see here. And this is the first time I have ever cut this paper and experimented with using the Joy. So I'll share with you in this video some things I've learned along the way, hopefully some helpful tips for mistakes that I've made, and then you'll just get to see how easy it is to make stickers with your Cricut Joy. I'll give you a little hint. I loved working with this. So yeah, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is get started in Design Space. Obviously you can customize this to whatever kind of stickers that you need for your planner. These are the ones that I am going with today. I will include a link below if you want to check out these images that I've pulled from Design Space. So what I wanted to show you guys is how to search for images in Design Space. What I did was went over on the left hand side here and clicked on images. And then you can go ahead and just search with specific keywords for what you're looking for. So let's say you wanted to use a heart. I just typed in heart in the space bar, and then you can just scroll through and choose what hearts you want. So if you click on them, you can click multiple at a time and it will all save them. You can see down below. So let's say I want these three, then we'll click insert images. And then from here, you can pick the one you want, and then you want to size it to whatever size that you need. I did mine to be about 0.5 inches tall. If you go up here to size, you'll notice that this little lock is on, and that's important because we want it to lock the proportions. It's the same thing down here, we've got the lock on. So if you go to change the height to 0.5, it's automatically going to adjust the width so that it's proportioned perfectly. So I'm going to hit enter, and now it's sized perfectly. One last thing I wanted to show you is if you find an image in Design Space that you really like but you don't want maybe certain parts of the image, you can manipulate your image using a tool called Contour. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this heart, and I have an image hidden here that I wanted to show you. So when I was looking for a money sign, as you can see, this is the one I have right here. I really liked this money sign, but I didn't care too much for like the hand and the bag. So what you can do is you can actually hide parts of your image using a tool called Contour. So we're going to click on our image, and then in the bottom right hand corner, click on Contour. And then as you can see, it says on the image below, select outline portions to turn the cut off and on. So either you can go ahead and click here, so you just click on the parts of the image you don't want. Otherwise, you can click up here as well. But I do want the money sign, so I'm going to unclick that one. And now if we go back to the canvas, we'll close out of here. As you can see, it's hidden all of the other parts of the image except for the money sign. So I love using Contour. I use it a lot. Once you have your designs created, from here we're going to confirm our machine selection, and we have the Cricut Joy selected, so it's perfect. Then we're going to click on Make It. The first thing it's going to ask us is how we're going to load our materials. So we're using deluxe paper, and it's not a smart material, so we're going to have to use a matte. So click on matte. So from here, we're on the matte preview screen, and we can adjust our project copies up here just by clicking. I think I'm going to do about 6. So now it's going to connect to the Joy over Bluetooth. And then the next thing that we're going to do is search for our material that we'll be cutting with. We are using deluxe paper with an adhesive back. So we're going to just click on Browse Materials. Just going to type in deluxe, and we'll just make sure that we've clicked the correct one. I'm actually going to favorite this so that I can just easily click on it next time, hit done, and now we'll get the fine point blade in and get the matte loaded into the machine. So this is the paper that we're working with today. It's the deluxe paper adhesive backed. It's called Nature Walk from Natalie Malin, and it comes with a few different patterns, which I think is really pretty. We have a few different options of this adhesive backed paper on our website, so I'll link all those below for you as well. So I'm just going to get this open, and then we're going to cut it to size using the paper trimmer. So these sheets are 12 inches long, and I only need about 3 inches for my project. So I'm going to use this paper trimmer and just cut it to 3 inches. You can apply the entire sheet of paper on the mat and cut it after the Cricut's finished cutting, but I like to cut beforehand usually. And I like to use the paper trimmer because it keeps everything perfectly straight. And I'm actually going to cut 2 more to 3 inches as well, just so I have a few different options. I can play with the patterns and pick which one I want. So here's the 3 pieces of paper that we are going to be using, and now I'm going to get these applied onto a cutting mat. So today I'm working with a standard grip mat. I actually would recommend using a light grip one just because the standard can be pretty sticky, but I don't have one on hand, so we are going to work with this and it should be just fine. So we'll go ahead and remove this clear plastic sheet from the mat, but hang on to this because this is what will protect your sheet. So we'll always replace that with it. And then we're going to get our paper just lined up onto the cutting mat and we'll get it pushed down. So this is a brand new mat, so I don't really need to use a scraper tool to push down because it's just sticky enough. But if your mat's maybe a little older, you can use a scraper tool like this one just to help burnish it down. So we can tell from the flashing light that the Joy is ready to be loaded. It's also important to make sure you have enough room behind your machine so that it can cut all the way through. So just make sure nothing is blocking it. And the Joy has sensors that will automatically pick up the mat and load it in. So now it's gonna pull it through and align it. And then now that it's finished, Design Space is telling us we're good to cut. So I'm just gonna hit go on my computer and it will start to cut. Finished cutting, and now we're going to remove this from the cutting mat. To do this, I'm actually going to flip the mat over and bend the mat back while I pull this straight. Now I'll just keep it straight. Then let's take a look at how this cut. So as you can tell, these are really tiny designs and it did do a really good job. I did notice though, on these balloons, you can see that because like the tail of the balloon, the string is so fine, it didn't cut the best. And I think that's just because it's super, super thin and tiny. I mean, these are only a ½ inch tall. So let's see if I can peel one off here. So like the heart cut really good, but you can tell that the tail didn't really work out. So I'm actually gonna go back in Design Space and find a new graphic to use like for birthdays. So let's just peel it up and see how this went. So there's the duck. His beak kind of had a hard time cutting, so I might go back. But I just wanted to show you guys my biggest tip now for this project if you're doing this is just to keep your images super simple. Because like obviously the car and the heart did just fine, but when things get super, super tiny like the beak or those heart balloons, it just has a little bit of a harder time cutting. So what I'm going to do, change my designs a little bit in Design Space, and then I'm going to cut these last two and I'll show you how these turn out. The good news is you live and you learn, and this isn't wasting too much material because they're so tiny. What I probably should have done looking back is done just a quick test cut and not cut like 6 at a time. But here's my tip to you, start small. All right, so I'm back here in Design Space. I'm going to replace this balloon image and then I'm going to just change this little duck image a little bit, but I'm still gonna use him. So I went back into the images and I found 4 cakes that I like. Obviously these images are way too complex for what we're doing, so I'm going to show you how to use the weld tool. So you're going to use weld when you want all of your different images or layers to combine into one. So let's take this little cake for example. As you can see in the layers panel over here, there's tons of different layers and it's a really pretty design. But since we have to keep this super simple because we're just cutting a single layer image, we're gonna weld it. And I'm not sure which one I want to use yet because I wanted to see what they looked like welded. So to weld, you just have to make sure everything is grouped together and then just click weld in the bottom corner. So that's what that cake looks like. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and weld these other ones. Obviously that one didn't turn out so good. There's that guy, and then there's this cake. I'm actually not a huge fan of any of these, but I'm gonna go back into the images and I'm going to continue the hunt for the right birthday image, so stay tuned. Alright, so this time I went back and I searched for birthday hat and tons of options popped up, and this one was already a single layer image and I think it's good for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete this cake, but at least you got to see how to weld. Once again, I'm gonna adjust this to 0.5 inches tall, and then I'm gonna go ahead and delete this guy. And now, since I want these all to cut on the same mat, I'm just gonna change the color to this darker blue. And now the last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ungroup these. I just wanted to change this guy a little bit. So it kind of had a hard time cutting out like his beak and even the eye and the little dimple here. So what I'm going to do is use the contour tool again. So click on contour, and then I'm actually going to click on the things I want to fill in. So his beak, his eye, and this dimple. So then all the things that are showing are the outline of his body and his wing. and that's how it turned out. So I think the Joy will be able to cut this much easier. Again, I think the only reason it had, you know, a little bit of a challenge cutting is because the images are so small. So we'll change this to 0.5. And now I think this is going to turn out perfectly. So we will get these cutting and I'll show you what they look like at the end. So the purple just finished cutting and here's what it looks like. I would say it did a much better job. So I'm super excited to put these in my planner. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this from the mat. Remember, bend it back and hold your material straight. Even that one I didn't do the best job holding the material straight, and you see how it cupped a little bit. So definitely use that tip I first showed you. That will help prevent any bending. So I'm just gonna get this last one applied and cutting, and then we'll put them in to my planner. And here's one quick look at the last cut. So obviously from here, all you need to do to remove your stickers is just peel it up. So kind of bend the paper back a little bit and then grab it with my nail. So here's our little birthday hat. And then all I'm going to do is just stick them in my planner. And then when it's someone's birthday, I can just write their name next to it. I also did a money sign, obviously reminders for my bills. So I can put that in here as well for rent. And yeah, so you can just go crazy with this. Like I said earlier, you can customize this to however you want. And I did 3 different patterns from the pack just because I thought it would be fun to like mix it up a little bit. So I did an airplane here. We'll just put him here for now. My husband is a pilot, so I can keep track of when he has flights. And let's see, I also did the little rubber ducky for doctor appointments. Did a car because we road trip a lot, and then the heart for date nights. So have fun with this. You can customize this however you want to. Just a really fun way, again, to use the Cricut Joy. So if you have any questions, as always, let us know in the comments below and we're happy to help you out. Thanks so much for watching.